Okay, Shalom Aleichem. We're just going to continue the story of Avraham. So, continuing. So, she asks, she responds to Avraham that the reason why she left the baby over there for 3 weeks without anything, because she was so afraid, that Nimrod would kill the baby. And she says, Amr loy, ila yichona el, and I was hoping that maybe, God will have mercy. Continuing. Amr lo. Avram says back to her, he says, you should know, Ki ani b'nei Avram, I'm Avram, your child, she'alzavta lefnei esrim yom, that you basically threw away 20 days ago. Continuing. Omer loy, and she says back to him, Ve'ech yochel liyash shegadalta b'koima kol koch. She says, how could it be that you grew to be such a tall, adult, in 20 days? You were a baby. Continuing, Omerla, and Avram says back to his mother, he says, Emes hadavar, you should know it's true. Edi imi, he says, my mother, you should know, sheyesh ba'olam, that in the world there is Eil, Godol v'noira, there's a power, a great power, awesome power, a God. Chai v'kayam, he's living, and he's kayam, and he's existing. Roya, he sees everything. The Eina Nira, but we can't see him. V'hi b'shamayim, and he's in Shamayim. Maloi chal haaretz kavoidai, and his glory, his kavoidai fills the whole world. V'hi, and he, this God, shesholach malocha, he sent his malach. V'hachilani, and he gave me to eat. V'hishkani, and he gave me to drink. Ishmarani, and this malach protected me. And because of that, that's how I grew to such a tall stature in such a short time. Continuing. Amr loy, his mother responds to him. She says, is there another God? Nimrod, besides of Nimrod? Because this is what she thought. Because this is what she thought at the time. But Nimrod, fooled everyone. Okay? Continuing. Amallah, and Avram says back to his mother, he says, Nimrod ben Adam kamoicha v'chamoini. He says, you should know, Nimrod is a human being just like you and me. Ve'ein he el, he's not a power, he's not a God. Continuing. Aval yesh elahai hashemayim, but there is a God of Shemayim, velahai aretz asher barakol, and that's the God of Shemayim and the earth that created it all. Ivara oisi v'oisach, and he created me and you, v'nimrod, and Nimrod too. Chol ma'ashat roya ba'olam, and everything you see in the world. Okay, this is what Avram replies to his mother, and he tells his mother, lechi imi, mother, he says, go to Nimrod, and let him know what I just told you. Continuing. His mother goes, she goes to the city. She tells her husband, Terach, how she found her son. Continuing. Terach, Avram's father was a sar, he was an officer. He was a big one. He was from the top ones in Nimrod's palace. And he goes to Nimrod, to the inner chambers of his palace. And he bows down to the melech. He fought of arza, and his face was to the ground. This is how they did it when there was a melech. Okay, continuing. The melech, Nimrod says, pick up your head. And ask whatever you desire. Continuing. So Terach, Avram's father, says, may the king live. Continuing. I came to tell you that what you saw in your wisdom with astrology, with the stars, that there's going to be a child born, the Malchischa, in your kingdom, that's going to, throw away your Emunah that people have in you. And because of this child that you killed 70,000 little boys, he says, I'm here to tell you that that's my son. And his mother, my wife, hid from me that he was born. Continuing. And she, took him to a desert and left him over there. And this happened 20 days ago. In the last 20 days, this child grew to be like an Adam Gadol, and he's walking by the river bank. And listen what he says. He says, that there's a lekim, there's a power of all powers, b'shamayim, that's in Shamayim. Roya, that this power has the power to see, but we can't see this power. Echad ve'ein sheni, he's one. There's no one besides for him. Continuing. Kishmaya Nimrod Eli Hadvarim, when Nimrod heard these words, he became very, very afraid. And he asked his advisors, Vesarov and his officers, what do we do with this child? He was very afraid. Let's remember, Nimrod knows the emes. His great-grandfather is Noach. Noach tells him the emes. And he decided that, he's going to make a monopoly on, the God, B'Shefer. Okay, continuing. Omer Loi Sarav Yatzav, his officers and his advisors tell him, Malkeini Eloheinu, our King, our God. Listen what they say. Keitzet tefachad mieled katan. How are you afraid of a little boy? V'yesh b'chol malchischa. You have in your kingdom, elef alfei alofim sarim. You have hundreds of thousands of officers. Yeah, v'shoitrim adei mispar. You have guards that do whatever you want, unlimited. Continuing. Hakotin Shabbasarim, the smallest one of your officers, send him, Viviani, and bring back Avraham. Visimani Beves Asar, let's put him into prison. What are you afraid of? Continuing. Amalahem Nimrod, he says to them, he says, 1 minute. Have you ever seen in your life, Yeled, a little child, Me'esrim Yoim, that's 20 days old, yeah? He's already walking on his feet and he's speaking with his mouth. Have you ever seen that? Nimrod's smart. And with his words, with his language, he's saying that there's a God in heaven. That there's one and there's no one beside, there's no second to him. And he can see, but we can't see him. Nimrod was very afraid because Nimrod was telling the whole world that he's the God, and everyone comes from Nimrod. And so Nimrod, tells his advisors, 1 minute, we're not talking about an adult that's, going around and making up stories. We have a little baby of 20 days old, and you ever heard of this? That 20-year-old baby should already start walking and talk, and he's saying, he's talking about something about a God and Shemayim. Okay. Continuing, all the officers that were there, Tommy, they were shocked. To me, now they became afraid from what Nimrod responded to them. Continuing, during this time, there's a Satan. He comes with Miss Adam, dressed up, appears like a regular person. Lovish meshi, wearing silk. And he goes and he prostrates himself, he bows down before the king Nimrod. The king says to him, raise up your head, and tell me what do you have to say? Continuing, the Satan, dressed up as a human being, says, Adonai Melech, my master the king, what are you so worried? The chilchem tameim yelet katan. What is everyone so worried and afraid of a little child? I'm going to advise you what you should do. Continuing, he says, Tiftach oitzrois klei milchama. Open up your storehouse that has all the military weapons. Yeah. V'siten l'chol asarim, give to all your officers, l'chol anshe ha'machama b'yadam klei zayin, give everyone, weapons, military weapons. V'yelchi, let them all, get together and go. Lahavi is Avraham, bring Avraham, sheyavai lavid oischa, v'hiyeh tachad yadcha, let him bring him by force and make him your servant and make him be, subservient to you, and that's going to solve the problem. So listen to this. The king, Nimrod likes the advice. He sends this big army in Klei Zion with all the military. Lahavi is Avram, and they go to bring Avram. Continuing. Karois Avraham, when Avram sees Shaboy Elab Amrav Kazeh, Avram sees, this whole military is coming and surrounding him. He becomes so afraid, major pachad. Continuing, by Yitzchok, and he cries out, Lalekaya Shemayim, to the God in heaven, in Shemayim, She'yatzilayim Yodam. He says, save him from their hands. Continuing, by Yishma Alehim Es Sakosai, Hashem hears his cry. V'yishlach lo is the Malach Gavril. He sends Malach Gavril lahatzul oisam Yodam to save him from their hands. Continuing, Amalai Malach. The Malach says, Malach Avraham, what's the matter, Avraham? Amalai, Avram says back, Pachadati, I'm afraid. I'm so afraid of these people that came to kill me. Continuing, Amalai, Malach Gavril says, don't be afraid at all. Because God is with you. He's going to save you from all your enemies. Continuing, Hashem instructed Gavril, the Malach Gavril, that Hashem instructed Malach Gavril to make a pillar, clouds to surround Avraham that's going to protect him. So Avram is standing here, and clouds come all around Avram, and it protects him between all this whole military from Nimrod. Continuing. When Nimrod's whole military sees that this cloud comes down and surrounds Avram, they became so afraid. The Shavi on Nimrod, Malcolm, and they went back to Nimrod, their king, and they said, Nisa, let's go. Let's leave this kingdom, because we have no chance to stand against such a person. Okay? When Nimrod, the Melech, hears this, he gets up, Nasi Lemdinas Bavel. He flees, he runs away to Bavel. Okay? Alright, let's continue. So apparently they were all by Kedem. That's where they were, in a place called Kedem. This is after the Mabul, right? That's where they are, and they leave Kedem. Now, Hashem says to Gabriel, Lech, go, Emor LaAvraham, tell Avraham, Sheyelech Acher Ha'oyev Nimrod LeBavel, go chase after this enemy Nimrod in Bavel. Okay. Omalei Avram says to Hashem, or he says to the Malach, he says, Ainli sis, I don't have a horse. Lukrav, to be able to ride on. V'loit Seidel Aderech, I don't have, food, provisions for this journey. I don't have military to help me to do Melchama, to wage a war against Nimrod. Continuing. Gavril says to Avraham, Eincha tzarech l'shem davar, you need nothing. Ki al kisefei terkav, you're gonna ride on my shoulders. Okay? Ani esoacha ad lebavel, I'm gonna take you all the ways to Bavel. Continuing. Avram gets up. Vayirkav al kisefei shel Gavril, and he mounts onto the shoulders of Gavril, Malach Gavril. In the blink of an eye, he gia lemdinas Bavel. He arrived at Bavel. Okay. Omalai Malach, the Malach tells Avram, Tikonos la Medina, go into the city, enter the city, v'sikra b'kol gadol, and call out in a great, call, scream out, Hashem Hi Yelakim, Hashem Hi Yelakim, He's the power of all powers. Bashamayim in Shamayim mimal, bal oretz mitachas, ein oid achar. He's the God in Shemayim and on the earth below. There's no God besides for him. He echad, he's the only one. Ain't sheni, Lord. He has no one that helps him. Ein lo demis agif. He has no, there's no image of a human form. Ve'ein agif, and he's not a human form. V'hi lahai hashemayim va'oretz, and he's the God of Shemayim and the earth. Ve'lahai Nimrod, and he's the God of Nimrod also. V'ani Avram avdoi ne'eman b'isai, and I am Avram, I am his trusted servant. Okay, this is what Malach Gabriel instructs Avram to go into the city of Bavel and start calling out. V'nichnas b'sleicha Medina, Avram goes into the city of Bavel. V'hechriz b'koil, and he starts screaming out, L'chol anshe Medina, to all the people of the city of Kadavar Hanaskar, these words that we just mentioned. V'hechriz, and he screamed out, Ha'idi kilchem ala devar ma'ela. Give testimony to all of you that what you're seeing is, you're hearing me scream all this out. And listen to this. Vayehi hoylech mashvakim erechayves, and he went into the marketplaces, into the businesses, everywhere. He matzah of imay, he finds his own mother and father. Avram finds Terach and his mother. And Malach Gabriel is standing right, next to his mother and father. Malach Gabriel tells Avraham, tell your mother and father, that they also should believe, and they should give testimony, that me, Avraham, that your child is screaming out, that Hashem is the power of all powers. There's no power besides for him. Continuing. When Avram hears the words of the Malach Gabriel, he tells his mother and his father, you should know, mother and father, you are serving, you are dining a human being just like you, and you're bowing to him, and you're bowing to these idols that are in the image of Nimrod. He said, don't you know that these idols that you're bowing to, that has a mouth, but this mouth can't speak, and it has eyes, right? But these eyes can't see. Oizen, this idol has ears, but it can't hear. It can't go on its feet. And there's no purpose to it. And not to them, and not to any other one. These idols. Continuing. When Terach, Avram's father, heard these words, he spoke to Avram with words, and he brought Avram into his house. Continuing. Avram, and Avram told him that in one day's time, he was able to travel a 40-day journey. 40-day journey, that's how he got to Bavel. 40 days, and that's what it would have taken to get from where he was in Kedem to Bavel. Avram tells his father, it took me one day, and I got here what normally takes 40 days. Continuing. When his father Terach heard this, he went to Nimrod, the king, and he said to Nimrod, my master the king, you should know that my little child, that you ran away from, he's here. And Nimrod, and he's saying, I asked him, how long did it take him to get here? From when he, and he says, today I left, he got the and today I arrived. It took me one day. Continuing, when Nimrod heard this, and this was the case, it took him one day to do what took 40 days for Nimrod and everyone to do. He became so afraid And he told his chachamim and his advisors, give me advice. What should I do with this child? Okay, continuing. They all responded unanimously. This is what you do. Let the king, Nimrod, may he live forever. Continuing, he says, they all advise him, go proclaim and scream out in your whole kingdom. We're going to make a big party for 7 days. This is what the advisors are advising Nimrod. 7-day big party from the king. Let the whole kingdom, everyone should be joyous and happy. And you're going to dress everyone in your kingdom with big day sheish, beautiful clothing, and basically give them good stuff, elevate them. And this is what you should do. And do this in your palace, in the kingdom, the inside, and outside. And now, in the inner chamber of your palace, you're going to sit there on your throne, on your royal throne. Let everyone come and bow down to you, and let them all serve you. Yeah, this is what everyone advised Nimrod. Continuing, so the Melech instructed everyone to do just that, to make a bit, give his whole kingdom, everyone, nice clothing, and elevate them, and give them whatever they need, and make a big party for 7 days, and then have everyone come. Continuing, when the king was there, everyone likes the king because the king is doing good for them. He's giving them, all this wealth and a party for 7 days, no work. It's just 7 days, and everyone comes to bow down to Nimrod when he was in his moment of glory. After everyone's with him, continuing. Sholach Achrei Avraham. He says, go bring Avraham. So Avram comes with his mother and his father, Terach, and they come. Listen to this. Avram is not afraid. He walks right past all the governors and all the big people. Till he reaches Nimrod's throne. He goes straight up to Nimrod. And he takes a hold of the throne. And he tells them, "Bekol Godel," in a loud voice. He said to Nimrod the following in this loud voice. He says, "Oy lecho Nimrod, hanigol hakoifer beikar." Woe to you, Nimrod! It's revealed that you're a koifer beikar. You're denying Hashem, the God, the Creator of the world. And you're denying that there's a God that's living and that's enduring. And that Avram is his trustworthy servant. Continuing. Toed v'saymar kamoini shashem yelehem echav sheni. Saying, Nimrod, humble yourself and testify that Hashem is the power of all powers, and He's the only one, and He has no one that helps Him. The ain't a gift, and He's not physical. The Chai, and He lives. He doesn't sleep, He doesn't slumber. The Bar as Kala Oilam Kila, and He's the one that created the whole world. Continuing. At that time, Nafli Kol Apsolim Oret Finishtabri. All the idols that were in the image of Nimrod that were surrounded over here, they all just fell to the ground and they all broke. Karois HaMelech, when Nimrod the Melech sees this, V'asarim b'mapaltam, and all the ministers, the officers with this downfall that just happened, Agam Tzakas Avraham, and they hear Avram, screaming. Nafli kilam al paneim arza. They all fall down to the earth. Im Nimrod Malcolm vayomah libam bekirbam. And Nimrod the king, and their hearts melt. They go onto the floor. And they all fall down. 2 hours go by, and they're in this like passed out state till they, regain their consciousness. Continuing. The Nimrod, the Melech says, Avram, is that your call? Is that your voice? Or is that the call that we just heard, the call of God himself? Continuing. Avram says, this call you heard, it's the voice of a small little creation. Mikol Bariya, from all the creations. Shabar Kadosh Baruch Hu, that Hashem created. Continuing. That time Nimrod said the following: the truth is that your God Avram is a powerful and strong God. Melech Malchi Hamlochim, he's the king of all the Malachim. Continuing. And Nimrod tells the Terach of Avram's father, Sheelech and Benoi, and he should take his son and V'Yosem Olav, go get away, you go away from here. And Avram and his father Terach, they leave. So Nimrod wasn't yet ready to, go after Hashem, but he testified that, he's not the real God. It's Hashem, and he tells Avram and Terach, okay, just go away from me. Okay, continuing. Later on, Avram grows up till he was 20 years old. Okay, let's remember the story up till now is when Avram is a month old, or maybe 2 months old. If you're following the story, right? When he was 10 days old, he was already walking like an adult. When he was 20 days old, his mother comes and he's already an adult. They bring him to Nimrod's. Okay, 40 days go by. Avram's 2 months old. Now we're talking Avram's 20 years old. Okay? Continuing. Yigdal Avram actually ben Esrim Shani. He's 20 years old. V'serach Aviv Chala. And Terach, his father, becomes not well. V'yomer al bonav Haran v'Avram. He tells his children, his sons, Haran and Avram. He says, B'chayaychem bonai, my children, by your life, do me a favor, Timkri li, go sell for me, Kol echad, each one, Shnei Psalim, 2 idols that we have, because he had idols. He had merchandise, dead merchandise, but he still owned the merchandise, the idols. She'eni moed lahaytzoyz harfiyah, I don't have money to pay for my refuah, for my doctor, for my remedies. Continuing. Holach Haran, Avram's brother, goes, he machar es psalim, and he sells the idols. Maybe and he brings his father the money. Okay, he does his job. Avram, what does he do? He goes, he takes these 2 idols, yeah. He ties to the head of these psalim a string, like a leash. He goes to the city, to the market, and he's pulling it like you pull a dog, and the faces are to the ground. And he goes and he's screaming out. He says, who wants to liknas pesel, that wants to buy an idol that has no purpose, not for itself, not to the one that buys it to serve it, to worship it. It has a mouth, but it can't speak. And Naim, it has eyes, but it can't see. As Naim, it has ears, it cannot hear. When the people of the city, when they heard Avram's words, Tommy Lema'oid, they were shocked. They were just shocked that somebody's going around and talking this way. Karva Elav Isha Zakena, a wise old woman approached Avram, and she said to him, he says, please, Tivcha li pesel toiv, choose for me a good idol. I'm looking for an idol, a big one, that I should be able to serve, and I want to be able to love it. I'm looking for an idol. Do me a favor, Avram. I see that you know idols. You're telling everyone these are the no good ones. Find me a good one that I can buy it, and I should be able to serve it. I need to love something. That's why I want it. I want to love it. Avram says to her, Zakena. Old lady, he says, yesterday, didn't you yesterday, I saw you yesterday, you bought from my brother, Ahron, you bought an idol. What happened to that idol that you bought yesterday? She says to Avram, Boy Ganovim, thieves, robbers came, Halela last night, they stole everything that was in my possession. This idol that I bought yesterday, they stole it also. Continuing. Avram says to her, he says, if that's the case, how could you, worship and serve a idol that it can't even save itself from being, stolen from the robbers? How do you expect it to save you? And how could he even think to say that this idol is a god? Continuing. She says to him, Avram, if that's the case, who should I serve? Yeah. And Avram says to her, Tavdi, you should serve the God of all powers, and the master of all masters, the creator of the heavens and the earth, the oceans and all that's in it. The one that sees, but you can't see him. He has no form of a human, and you can't even think of any kind of form that you can connect to him. And Imihi Nimrod HaKelev, who's Nimrod, this dog? That made himself a god that you should serve him. Continuing. Amra Zakena, this old lady says, okay, from now on, going forward, Loi Evoid, I'm not going to serve the idol. Kiem Elekecha Elekei Avraham, only your God, the God of Avraham. Continuing. And she asks him, Vem Evoid Oisai, and if I do serve your God, Mate Elis Yeli, what's going to be the Te'elis? What am I going to benefit? Continuing. Avram says, everything that was stolen from you, Yoshev Lach will be returned to you. And you're going to save your nefesh from Gehenna. This is what Avram says to her. Continuing, and the old lady says, what could I say? What should I say? What word should I say to save my nefesh from destruction? Continuing. Avram says, say the following. Toimri, say, Hashem hi ulakim. Hashem is the power of all powers. Bashamayim ma'al val oretz b'tachas. In Shemaim in the heaven and on the earth below. Echad ve'ein sheni. He's the one. There's no one besides, no one to help him. Memes, he puts to death. Imachaya, and he brings to life. He chai, he's alive. La yira maves, he never sees death. Vagamani Avram avle neman baisa, and also say that Avram, I'm his name on baisa. I'm his trustworthy servant. Continuing. Hoisha zakena hazois. This old woman, nichasi devar of the azna. These words went into her ears. The shava b'tshuva, and she returned in what's called teshuva. V'nescharta al she'avda es ha'pesel, and she regretted that she worshipped this idol. V'achrei kama yomim, and after many days went by, matzah haganovim, these robbers were found, the ones that stole from her everything. V'chziri la hagneva, and they returned to her this whole, whatever they stole. V'soicham ha'pesel, and amongst what they recovered was this idol. Continuing. Me'asasa, what did she do with this idol? Lakha Evan, she took a stone. V'hiksa roisha, she smashed it on his head. V'amar, she said, Oy lecha, woe to you, to the idol. And to anyone that worships you, that worships you further, because in you, this idol, there's no, you can't do anything. Not for anyone that worships you. Okay, that's what she says. And she leaves her house. And she started screaming in the streets, in the market, in the businesses. She said, whoever wants to save their nefesh, from the destruction that's going to come, one day everyone's going to die, and you're going to face the emes, and you want to be successful in everything you do. You should start serving Elokai Avraham, the God of Avraham. Continuing. And she went around and she started, screaming this over and over. Until she was able to make many other people do teshuvah. Continuing. The king hears this. Nimrod, he hears what's going on. There's a lady that's running around and putting him out of business. Continuing. He sends, he sends and he says, bring her before me. Amrullah. And he says to her, why are you doing that? You're going away from worshiping me, yeah? Why don't you worship me? That I'm your God. And I'm the one that formed you. I'm the one that supports you. Continuing. Hashiva va'amra. She replies to Nimrod. She says, Ata min hashakronim. You're from the shakronim. You're from the liars. You make things up. V'ata koifer. And you deny be'el echad asher baracha. And you deny in the power that created you. V'ata oichel mitivai. And you eat from his goodness, Hashem that he gives. V'savet el achar. And you worship a different God. The sichbar boy, and you deny in him, if Avraham Avdi, and in Avram his servant. Continuing. Kishmoya HaMelech Devareya, when Nimrod heard these words, Siva Vaharagia, he instructed that they should kill her. Continuing. That's what happened. Ifachad HaMelech Ad Lema'oid Ave Avraham, and Nimrod, he was so afraid, because of what Avram is doing, that he's making this belief in him, this trust, in Avram. People are losing faith in Avram, in Nimrod. Continuing. Because the majority of the population, because he was already getting the majority of the world to believe in Avram. Continuing. When his servants, when his officers saw how much pain Nimrod was in, they proclaimed that this is what should happen. All the people from the city, from Nimrod's kingdom, we're going to make another big party, 7-day party. Everyone's going to be dressed up in the finest clothing and silk clothing. Yeah. We're going to bring out the king's wealth. Everyone bring out the wealth, for everyone to see. And you too, Nimrod, you bring out your wealth. To show everyone how powerful your wealth is. And when Avram is going to see, your great wealth, and all the powerful people from your Medina, yeah? Surely Avram is going to come and he's going to start believing in you. Continuing. When Nimrod hears this advice, he became very happy. And he instructed that they should scream out to all the people of his kingdom, and everyone should come to this place where everyone always goes every year, in a certain garden, okay? And bring there all the idols in the picture of Nimrod. They asked Yisham, make over there Yemei Mishta v'Simcha v'Yamtiv, a big day of celebration, a big feast, yeah? Even greater than they ever had before. Make such a big party. Continuing. During this big party, and the Melech, Nimrod told Terach to bring his son, to bring him so Avram should see, his great wealth and his, all his power and his kingdom. And how many people, serve Nimrod, yeah? Omar Avram, what did Avram say? Avram says, I can't go there. Omar Terach, so Terach, his father says, Im Kain, you know what? If you can't go there, then I'm going to go. Do me a favor. Teishev im Absalom, you take care of all my idols. Terach owned a big idol business. He says, you stay behind, you take care of all the idols. Asher LaMelech, that because he Terach was the one that sold. He was the manufacturer of the Melech Nimrod's idols. Okay, Ad Ba'eni Misham Vayaskein, until I come back, because I'm going to the party. The Terach is, he's the one from Nimrod's kingdom that he manufactures the idols in the image of Nimrod. So Avram didn't want to go, so Terach says, I'm going, you stay here, you be in charge. Okay. Terach goes to the party. Yeshev Avram im hadnisim, and Avram stays there with the idols. Continuing. And there was all types of idols, and also one of the idols, there's different idols. One of them was the images of the Melech of Nimrod. So listen what Avram does. Avram takes a garzon, it's an axe, okay? All the ones that have the image of the king, he smashes them, okay? He started from the big one, there's different sizes, the big one, and he finished by the small one. Anyway, this one, he broke off its foot. This one he chopped off his head. This one he took off both of his hands. And he put the axe, when he was done, in the hands of the biggest one of these idols. Avram goes out of the store. No, he leaves. Continuing. When this big party was over, the king comes to his home, his palace. Now, obviously, so this story took place, this store was in the king's palace, yeah? And the king sees all his images, all his idols, they're all broken. Omar, he says, who was here? Who did this? Who could have thought to do such a thing? Continuing. Everyone was crying, and then they said, Avram Hoyikon. We know Avram was here because he wasn't by the party. In the stomach, he saw verse Islam, and probably he's the one that did it. They broke all these idols. Continuing. It's Melech Lahovi is Avram, and the king instructed, bring Avram. And the king Nimrod says to Avram, why'd you kill my God? Why'd you do it? Avram responds, I didn't smash them. It's who did it? It was that big idol that you see, the biggest one, the one that has the axe in his hand. You could even ask him. Go ask him, and he'll tell you. He'll tell you he did it. When Nimrod, the Melech, hears his response, he became so afraid. And he instructed, and they put Avram into prison. Where you put the ones that rebel. And he instructed, Nimrod instructed, don't give him any food or drink so that he should die over there. Continuing. So what did Avram do? He raises his eyes to Hashem and Shemayim. And he says, Hashem Elikai, Hashem my God. he says, Ati Yedei HaNistaros, you know everything that's hidden. You know all the hidden things. He says, Ati Yedei, and you know, that you know that I didn't end up here only because of your honor, Hashem. Shama Hashem Tfilasai, Hashem heard his tefillah. V'sholach lo Malach Gabriel, and Hashem sent Malach Gabriel. And in the prison, it was created a well of fresh water. And this Malach Gabriel brought him all kind of foods. And this Malach stayed with him for a full year, one whole year in the prison. And the Malach brings them, he creates a well with water, and he brings them food for one whole year. 1 year, goes by. And the officers of the king, they come, and they advise that they want to have a party with the king. And while they're at the party, they were discussing all different things, and then the topic of Avraham came up. How he was trying to get everyone to worship somebody besides for the Melech. Ona Melech, and the king Nimrod says Im Adeni Chai, and he asks and he says, is he still alive? And he says if he's still alive for some reason, if he somehow survived, then what we should do is we should go throw him into the Kif Shana Eish. Kif Shana Eish is a big fire. We're going to make a big bonfire. We're going to throw him in. Oni Hasarim Kena Dover. And the king says, yeah, that's what we should do. This is what happened. And these officers, they told the king, Livna is God, let's make a big gate, surrounding where we're going to make this fire. And we're gonna call out. Everyone, the whole kingdom, everyone should come bring wood, as much wood as you could. Afterwards, we're gonna light all this wood. We're gonna light it so it becomes a big fire. Until this fire goes so high till Shemayim. Avram, then we're going to throw Avram into it. And he's going to get burnt. Then finally, everyone's going to come back to just believing in you, and you're the God. You created them, and everyone has to serve you. Okay, continue. And the king instructs. This is what they should do. Continuing. 40 days go by, and everyone's gathering wood, and they're building the biggest fire. And then they light this big fire, and it goes up till Shemayim. And then the king sends to go call the officer in charge of the prison. As Avram Lefanov, to go bring Avram bring him before the king. And the officer of the prison comes and he bows down to the king. And he says to the king, he says, how could you even make such a request that I should go bring a person that a whole year went by? Nobody gave him any food. In the stomach of our mace, certainly, most likely, he died. So the officer of the prison tells the king, I don't understand what your request is. You want me to go to the prison that he's dead already? Okay, continuing. Amalei Melech, Nimrod the Melech says, Helech v'sira, go and see. Ve'emeis kvar tikbaroi, v'leizach shmai oid. If he died, then bury him, so we shouldn't remember his name anymore. Ve'michai, but if he's alive somehow, to be any, then bring him, v'nizrak oisai l'seicha esh. Bring him and throw him into the fire. Continuing. Holach sar beis hasar l'pesach habar. This the head of the prison, he goes to the opening of the bar. The bar is a big pit. That's how they used to put people in jail. Deep, deep pit that's not possible to come out of. Imagine a 100-foot pit. That's it. You can't come out of it, yeah? Vayikra b'kol gadol, and he calls out in a loud voice. He says, Avraham, ata chai? He says, Avraham, are you alive? Continuing. Avraham responds, Anoichi chai, I'm alive. Omer loi, and this the head of the prison says, Mi nosan lecha achila shi ad ata. Who gave you food and drink till now? Who has been feeding you? Omer loi Avraham. Avraham says, well, him, it's the power of all powers. Sholach malacha. He sent the malach. He sent an angel. He sent the malach. Vechilani, and he fed me. Veshkani, he gave me the drink. He is on mifaras kilam. He sustains everyone. He bara, and he's the one that bara kala olam. He created the whole world. Velahai kala olam, and he's the God of the whole world. Continuing. When the Sar, the officer of the prison, heard this, he started believing in Avraham also. He started believing. And he started calling out, Avraham, and Nimrod he started, going after Avraham, and he started, running out and telling, Lakai Avraham, the God of Avraham is the God. And Nimrod, he's the kofer. Nimrod, he's fooling everyone. And they told this older. They came. They said this to the Melech, to Nimrod. When Nimrod the Melech heard this, he was shocked. And he sent. They brought the Sar, the head of the prison. They brought him to Nimrod. And Nimrod said, the king says, "Eich kafar to be. How do you deny me? And how do you say Shalahai Avraham emes? How does this happen? That he started saying that Avram's God is emes, is the truth. Omer loy, because he responds, emes, it is the truth. It's the emes, the choyna dover. It's correct. Nimrod koifer b'lahai emes, and you Nimrod, you're denying, the true God." Continuing. And the king Nimrod became very, very, filled with rage. And he instructed, let's chop off his head with a sword. Continuing. When, the guards, they picked up the sword to go and chop off this, the head of the Beis HaSoyar, the head of the prison, the person in charge of the prison. This head of the prison screamed out and he said, Hashem hi ulakim, it's Hashem, that's the power of all powers. Hi ulakai kol ha'olam, he's the God of the whole world. Ivarakol, he created it all. V'gamas Nimrod the kofer, and Nimrod, he's the faker. V'nas a nes happened, a miracle. V'asai of this sword, it couldn't chop his head. V'nishbar asayav, this sword broke. It just, boom, Continuing, the Tama Melech, and the Melech was shocked. Apparently his throat became like a rock, whatever. The sword broke, the Melech is in shock. Continuing. So Nimrod, he instructs the officers, Asher Itai that were with him, Lahavi es Avram. He says, go bring Avram. One of the officers, they bring Avram to Nimrod. And the Melech instructs, he says, go throw him into this big fire. And he gets up, and this officer gets up to throw him into the fire. A fire went out, from the bonfire, a fire shoots out, and this fire burns the officer. He consumes the officer in fire. A different officer gets up, so he sees it didn't work there. Another officer gets up to try to do the same thing. And he also gets burnt. And every other officer that attempted to do the same thing, they got burnt. Continuing. Until many of these officers they died. Continuing. Now this Satan, the Satan, yeah, he comes dressed up like the appearance of fire. And imagine this fire form bows to the king. And he says to the Melech, so the king asks this fiery image of the Satan, what's your advice? Continuing, and he says, the Satan, he says, I can do something. I have something I can do. Lizraik as Avram Lekivshan that will allow you to throw Avram into the big fire. What should you do? Bring me wood and different materials. And I'm going to make from what you bring me from the wood and the different building materials, Travoikoi. I'm going to make what's called a Travoikoi. We'll soon see this is called a cannon. Okay, we'll soon see it's a cannon. What's a cannon? Asher hiya gola, it's a wagon. Im kefitzim kazoi, asher metoichteni yazoi, which has basically this, lever. That when you pull the lever, yishlach lekivshan meirochai, that you have the ability to take something that from far away to throw it a far distance. This is what a cannon. It shoots cannonballs. The Satan is giving, Nimrod advice because everyone that tried, taking Avram, throwing him into the fire, they were getting burnt. So the advice was we're going to create a cannon and we're going to go far away and then we can shoot him into the fire. And nobody will get burnt. Only Avram. That was the Satan's, brilliant idea to Nimrod. Continuing, and the Melech instructed, they give him all the wood and all the building materials. And they built him this cannon. They tested it out. They put rocks and they shot the rocks into the fire and it worked. So what they do? They took Avram, the Kashri, and they tied him up, and they put him into the cannon, to go and blast them into the fire. Continuing. When Avram saw that they tied him up, he turns his eyes to Shemayim. On the other hand, he says, Hashem Elekai, he says, Hashem, my God. The whole world fills your glory. Yeah. Don't you see Don't you see what Nimrod, this King Nimrod, is doing to me? And also all the malachim above, they were all screaming out bitterly. Yeah. Hashem said, how could it be that I don't know? I see everything that's hidden. But just wait and see. I'm going to show you a great nekoma, great revenge for Nimrod that denies me. I'm going to save Avram, my servant. You just watch, wait and see. Now listen what happens now. Now the Satan, he comes to Avram, dressed up, with Nis Adam, like a human being. And he says to Avram, he says, he says, Avram, you want to save your life and be saved from this fire of Nimrod, just bow down to him. When Avram heard these words, Gora boy, he sent him away. And the Satan went away from him. Okay? The Satan was trying to convince Avram that he should just finally give in and bow to Nimrod. Continuing. Avram's mother comes to give him a hug, to give him a kiss. And she says, B'ni, my child, she says, just bow down to Nimrod. Just believe in what he wants you to believe. Yeah? You're going to be saved from this big fire. Yeah? His mother. Yeah? The Avram says to his mother, Imi, my mother, go away from me. Mother, go away from me. And he sent her away. And he said, Imi, he says, mother, Eish Nimrod Techabe Oisa Hamayim. This big fire of Nimrod, water could put it out. Aval Eish Elakai Olam, but the fire of the God of the world, Eina Kava Olam, that never gets burnt out. Nothing can burn that out. Continuing. Kashama Devar Amr Loi, when his mother heard these words, she said to him, the God that you serve, He Yatzilchem Eish Nimrod. She said, may He save you from the fire of Nimrod. Continuing. And then shortly after this, and the Malachi Asheris, the Malachim in Shemayim, they were asking for Rachamim from Hashem, that Hashem should come down and save Avram from the fire of Nimrod. And Gabriel comes to Avraham and he says to Avram, he says, do you want I should save you from the fire? Avram says, he says to Gabriel, no, the God that I have trusted, He Yatzileni, He is going to save me. When Hashem saw that his intentions was good intention, that he's saying, I want no help, only from Hashem directly. Pona elav berachmim. Then Hashem turned to him and rachamim. Continuing. Now, when Nimrod, when they shot the cannon, when Avram in the cannon into the big kivshan aish, into the big fire, yeah. V'nofal lakivshan, he fell into the fire. Omer Hashem la'eish, Hashem said to the fire, Ti kara, cool down, Ishleva al avdi Avram, be cool, don't be hot. Yeah? Hashem commanded the fire, be cool and be a resting place for Avram, my servant. Continuing. But nasa nes, and a nes happened, a miracle happened. V'eish nichba b'loy mayim, the fire gets extinguished without water. V'sicha v'tzitzi ha'etzem, tzitz v'chilam ha'tzi peres. And all the wood that was there, they started, producing peres. They started, giving forth fruits. And this whole big fire turned into a beautiful garden, like a king's garden. And Malachim, the Malachim from, they were sitting with Avram inside the garden. Continuing. And the king turned and he sees, Nimrod sees that all the malachim, the angels, the malachim, they're sitting with Avram in the middle of this garden. This King Nimrod says to Avram, do you do witchcraft? That the fire has no power over you? Continuing. All of Nimrod's officers, they say to Nimrod, Lo yadaneni, because they were witchcraft people. They said, Ein zeh kishiv, this is not witchcraft, this is not kishiv. Kiyem yecholis leka godel leka Avraham, because they said, we know witchcraft, this is not witchcraft. This is coming from the power of the God of Avraham. Ve'ein leka acher mivaladai, and there's no power besides for him. And we're giving testimony to it, okay? And the emes is that Avram is his true servant. Continuing. And that time, what happened was, Kol Sore Nimrod, they started believing, Chol Amo in the whole world, Hashem Elakai Avram, in Hashem, the God of Avram. And they said, Hashem Hi Elakim, Hashem is the power of all powers. Vashamayim Amal, in the heavens above, Vala'oretz Metachas, and on the earth below, Ein Oid, there's no one beside it. Okay, that's the end. That's the end of this. Is the story of Avram. This took place, Avram was born 1948 from creation. So we all know this story, because this is part of our chinuch. We learn it in yeshiva. Many of us, we never heard the story inside from a sefer, this story, if we connect to our Emunah, to the Chumash, to the story, and as we go through it, what we see is this is a story that plays itself over during everyone's lifetime. And we have to ask ourselves, let's look around, right now, right here, wherever you are, or, in America, where in the world. We have to ask ourselves, what is this God that on it says, on the dollar bill it says, in God we trust. Which God are they trusting in? We have to ask ourselves. We go, everyone goes and we work, we take jobs, we take, salaries, 9 to 5. We invest and we want to go from level to level. Houses that costed 2 years ago $400,000, today it's worth $650,000. Nothing happened. It's just we're all chasing. What are we chasing? This is a story that we can really, analyze it and with an honest eye and look around, and we can ask ourselves, where do we see similar words to this story that's printed in a sefer? We can ask ourselves, tens of thousands of people over the years, talking not right now, this year, last year, year before, tens of thousands of from Yidden, not from people, just humanity, finding these words, very similar to what Avraham was doing, running around convincing people what you're chasing is not real. You're going to find these words in the Sfarim, in the books of Rabbi Nachman, only Rabbi Nachman. There's a story, Rabbi Nachman gives 13 stories which he says they're hidden Torah. It's written in Lashon Kodesh, and he says these are stories, just like in Bereshis we have the whole story. Bereshis, Noach, Lech Lecha, Vayera, right? There's a story. Rabbi Nachman says, besides for the Kutim Iran, which is different lessons and he connects it to the Torah, he says stories. He calls it Sipuri Masiyas. The second to last story is called the story of the Baal Tefillah. And that story, the Baal Tefillah, when we go through the story, we very clearly see he was talking to our generation, to the concept of America, to the concept of how we're all chasing what we can't even achieve. We should be zoichet to, find the sefer, pick it up, and just allow ourselves to read the words, let ourselves be connected to a tzaddik emes, the tzaddik emes, that he, in his lifetime, made the claim that no one ever made. He says he reached the highest level a human being can reach. That's what he says. It's recorded. He lived his life just to bring people back to Teshuvah, bring people back to Hashem. That was his whole mission. And that's why you have tens of thousands, I think the number was 70 plus thousand, that made their way to Uman for Rosh Hashanah, because it's recorded very clearly that this was his will. And it's all recorded. We're talking about 70 plus thousand. These are all people that have families, and they're following a tzaddik that gave over instructions. Each person paid $2,000 minimum to go. That's what it costs, a plane ticket and the hotel. We have to ask ourselves, what's holding us back from joining this, what I say is the Rabbim? Because if you put everyone together in one place, then you see that it's already, everyone's picking up on it. But it's such a big world, we're all spread out. We should be zoiche to take this is the shirish of where we come from, really all humanity, because everyone's Bnei Avraham. If we're still in existence, it's coming from Avraham had Yishmael, Avraham had Yitzchok. But he also, if you look in the Parsha, he married Keturah and he had a bunch of children. Everyone comes from Avraham today. So we should all be zoiche to connect to the true Emunah, and we should just, start the real tshuva journey. You can't do it without Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Nachman made it clear. He's the tzaddik. And in his lessons, in his stories, we find ourselves. Okay, we should all be zoicha